Beloved chosen one, pause for a moment. Heaven has hushed the noise around you so that you might finally hear what your spirit has been whispering all along. This Christmas is not empty. It is sacred. It is not silent because you are forgotten. It is silent because you are being formed. The stillness you feel is not a punishment. It is preparation. You stand in a divine moment where God has pressed pause on everything familiar to prepare you for what you cannot yet see. Listen carefully. The world celebrates loudly, but heaven moves quietly. While others chase lights and noise, you are being summoned into the holy pause, the same silence that hovered before creation spoke, the same stillness that came before the Savior cried in the manger. The silence of God is never absence. It is anticipation. You are standing in the space between promise and performance, between calling and confirmation. Heaven has not gone silent, it has gone strategic. You've been wondering why the answers don't come easily, why doors seem delayed, why prayers echo with no reply. But this is what you must understand: silence is not God turning away. It is God tuning you in. There are frequencies of His voice that can only be caught in the absence of noise. You are not waiting for God to speak. God is waiting for you to hear. Every unanswered question is a classroom. Every quiet night a holy appointment with destiny. You have walked through battles that no one applauded for. You have smiled while bleeding, served while breaking, loved while aching, and through it all, heaven has watched. The silence you feel is not neglect, it is God's gentle covering. The seed never hears the gardener while it grows underground, yet every inch of its hidden life is being tended. You are that seed, beloved, buried but not forgotten, covered but not crushed, waiting, but being made ready. There is power in stillness. Stillness is not weakness, it is focus. Stillness trains your spirit to recognize His presence beyond emotion. Stillness reminds you that God is not a feeling, He is a foundation. And as you rest in His silence this Christmas, something eternal is taking shape inside you. You are being equipped, fortified, transformed so that when the silence breaks, your voice will carry the sound of heaven itself. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. That verse does not whisper, it commands. It is not a suggestion, it is a strategy. Be still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening in ways unseen. When David wrote those words, he was surrounded by war, chaos, and uncertainty, yet God's voice thundered above the noise, be still. The instruction was not to stop moving, but to stop panicking. It was to trust that divine silence is not divine absence. Chosen one, can you feel it? That holy stirring beneath the quiet heaven has chosen this season, this Christmas, to prepare you in silence. You may not hear trumpets or see signs, but something sacred is shifting. The oil of endurance is being poured upon your spirit. The fire of faith is being kindled in secret chambers. And soon, you will see why heaven had to pause your plans to align you with purpose. This silence is your making ground. You are standing where prophets once stood in the tension between revelation and manifestation. They too faced silence. Joseph sat in prisons before standing in palaces. Mary pondered mysteries in her heart before holding the promise in her hands. Even the heavens were silent for 400 years before angels split the sky with the news of Emmanuel, God with us. You, too, are part of that divine rhythm. You are being readied for your own announcement. So don't rush the quiet. Don't despise the stillness, embrace it. The same God who hid you is the same God who will reveal you. And when He does, every moment of silence will make sense. Every unanswered prayer will echo with purpose. Every night of waiting will prove worth the dawn that follows. Take a deep breath. Heaven is closer than you think. The silence around you is not empty, it is full of God. You are not being overlooked. You are being observed. You are not abandoned. You are anointed. This Christmas, your preparation is heaven's priority. The world may see a pause, but heaven sees a plan unfolding in perfection. If this message finds you in that quiet space, lift your heart in gratitude. Speak softly, I trust you. Lord, let those words rise above your questions. And when you are ready, do one simple act of faith. Share this message, like it, and subscribe so you can stay connected to every word heaven releases in this season. Let the world know that even in silence, you are being made ready. And as a prophetic act, type this number below 111, the number of divine alignment. The reminder that one God, one purpose, and one calling are at work in you right now. The silence has lingered, and in that stillness, you've begun to sense the weight of battles no one else can see. These are not wars of swords and shields, but of faith and fatigue wars fought in your thoughts, in your heart, and in the hidden places where only heaven watches. You rise each day wearing invisible armor, waging silent wars against doubt, discouragement, and delay. The people around you may never know how close you've come to breaking, yet still, you stand. That is the beauty of being chosen. You endure what others never notice. Beloved, there is something sacred about the struggle you face in secret. The unseen battles are the proving grounds of destiny. When no one is applauding, when no one notices the tears you wipe away before stepping out into the light, those are the moments that heaven values most. God does not measure your worth by what is visible, but by what remains unshaken when all else fades. The silence of this season is not meant to weaken you. It is meant to strengthen what is unseen, to fortify your soul for the weight of glory that's coming. Sometimes you wonder, why does God allow me to fight alone? But you are not alone, even when you feel abandoned. The truth is, God is fighting through you. He allows these invisible battles so that your strength can no longer depend on people, position, or recognition. It must come from Him alone. The quiet storms of your life have been divine training. Each one has taught you how to stand when everything else falls apart, how to trust when there are no answers, how to love when your heart has been shattered. The Word of God reminds you that unseen does not mean unprotected. The stillness around you is not neglect, it's strategy. Heaven knows exactly when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to let you learn. The silence is sharpening your discernment, teaching you to know the difference between your fear and His voice, between your emotions and His truth. There are nights you've cried quietly, wondering if anyone even notices the effort it takes just to keep believing. But every tear shed in private has a record in heaven. Every sigh of surrender has reached God's throne. When you felt abandoned, you were actually being observed. When you thought you were losing strength, heaven was strengthening you in ways you couldn't yet see. There is a holiness in hiddenness. You may not feel holy. You may feel exhausted, unseen, and unworthy. But that's exactly where holiness begins. It is born not in perfection, but in surrender. The weight you carry in silence is not punishment. It is placement. You are being positioned in the Spirit to carry the kind of strength that will sustain miracles. The greater the calling, the deeper the preparation, and preparation often looks like loneliness. The enemy wants to make you believe that silence means defeat. He whispers that nothing's changing, that God has forgotten, that the struggle is wasted. But that's the same lie he told every chosen one before you. He told David his anointing was a mistake when he was alone with the sheep. He told Joseph his dreams were dead in the prison cell. He told Jesus in the wilderness that his father's silence meant abandonment. But each time, silence was not the end, it was the setup. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Those words are not ancient echoes, they are living power for your present. When God says, fear not, He is not asking you to deny your fear, He is commanding your faith to rise above it. He is reminding you that He holds your battles in His hand. Every sleepless night, every trembling moment, every silent cry, He is there, upholding you. Even when you can't feel His hand, you are still in His grasp. You've carried this burden long enough. God is saying, you have fought bravely, but now let me fight for you. The greatest act of faith is not in doing more, but in trusting deeper. You are not weak for feeling tired, you are human, and heaven honors your endurance. What feels like exhaustion is really transformation. The Lord is pulling you out of striving and into stillness, out of reaction and into revelation. So breathe. Let the silence do its work. God has not left you in the waiting room to forget you, but to refit you. Every hidden battle has been building divine muscle in your spirit. And when the time comes, what once broke you will bow to the strength God has formed within you. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time in the divine pattern. The unseen fight will soon reveal visible fruit. Until then, rest in the stillness and trust that your commander has already won the war. You have felt hidden lately, tucked away in the quiet corners of life, unseen by the world, unnoticed by the people you once expected to recognize your worth. It feels strange, doesn't it? To be so full of purpose and yet surrounded by silence. But heaven whispers you are not being hidden to be forgotten, you are being hidden to be formed. Every chosen one goes through a hidden season. The stage is not the starting place, the secret place is. God hides His greatest treasures, not because they are useless, but because they are precious. You are in the workshop of heaven, a vessel being refined by divine hands. The hiding is protection, not rejection. While others rush ahead, you are being refined for endurance. While others crave visibility, God is building stability in you. You may feel like life has passed you by, but listen. Heaven does not measure time the way humans do. What looks like delay is actually divine precision. You are not behind schedule. You are right on time in the rhythm of eternity. God is building something in you that will not collapse when the spotlight comes. The silence around you is the sound of construction. Remember, this fruit grows in hidden soil before it ever appears in the light. The unseen roots determine how high the tree can rise. The deeper the root, the stronger the growth. So if you've been wondering why your progress seems invisible, it's because your roots are being strengthened underground. God is making sure your success won't destroy your soul. Hidden seasons are holy classrooms. They strip away the desire to perform and teach you to abide. When no one sees your goodness, you learn to do good because it honors God, not because it earns applause. When no one praises your work, you learn that heaven's approval is enough. When no one stands beside you, you discover that God's presence is all you ever truly needed. But here's the truth that stirs your spirit: what is hidden now will not stay hidden forever. The covering is temporary, but the calling is eternal. The same hand that hid you will soon reveal you, and when He does, no one will be able to deny what He's done in you. You will not need to announce yourself, the fruit will speak. The Spirit has been training you quietly, shaping your humility, deepening your discernment, softening your heart. You are not being punished, you are being purified. You are being prepared to carry influence without arrogance, to stand in power without pride, to speak with authority that flows from purity. And the only place that kind of strength is born is in hiding, according to what is revealed in the book of Psalms. Chapter 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Those words are not just a promise, they are a placement. You are dwelling in the secret place. You have not been abandoned. You have been invited into a sanctuary that few understand. Under the shadow of the Almighty, you are untouchable by fear and unshaken by delay. The world may forget your name, but heaven remembers your address. God knows exactly where to find you when the time comes to reveal what He's been preparing in you. Sometimes you may feel envious of others who seem to move faster, shine brighter, or succeed sooner. But don't be deceived by surface speed. Many rush ahead without being rooted, and when the wind comes, they fall quickly. You, however, are being anchored deeply. Your growth is slower because your foundation is stronger. You are being shaped for sustainability, not performance. When God hides you, He also heals you. He is cleansing the wounds that would have ruined you in public. He is untangling the pain that would have poisoned your purpose. He is mending your heart so that when you finally step into the light, you carry peace, not pride. This hiddenness is holy surgery, painful, yes, but necessary for resurrection. And soon, when God says now, everything will shift. The same people who overlooked you will see what heaven always saw. The same places that once rejected you will be transformed by your presence. You will not need to prove your worth. The anointing will speak for itself. Until then, stay low, stay pure, and stay faithful in the shadows. So right now, I want you to do something prophetic. In the comments, write "I'm hidden, not forgotten." That's not just a phrase, it's a declaration. When you type those words, you are agreeing with heaven's plan over your life. You are saying, I will not despise my hiding season. I trust that what God conceals, He will one day reveal. And as you type it, let your spirit rest. You don't have to rush. You don't have to explain your silence. The same God who saw David in the field, who found Moses in the wilderness, who called Mary in obscurity, He sees you now. The shadow you dwell in today will soon become the light that shines through you tomorrow. Stay hidden, chosen one. The silence is your sanctuary, and the secret place is where destiny is being written with heaven's ink. There is a language spoken only in silence, and right now, heaven is teaching it to you. It's not a language of words on earth, but of whispers, subtle impressions, quiet convictions, and holy pauses that stir something deep within your spirit. The absence of sound is not the absence of presence. God speaks fluently in stillness, and the silence you feel pressing in around you is His way of saying, listen closer. When the noise of the world fades, heaven's voice becomes clearer. You've been asking for signs, for confirmation, for something loud and obvious, but God is not always found in the thunder. Sometimes He hides His answers in gentle peace. He doesn't shout over the chaos. He waits until you are calm enough to hear the truth. And that is what He's doing now, teaching you to hear in ways you never have before. There are moments when the silence feels unbearable, when you wonder if God has turned His face away. But silence is not divine withdrawal, it's divine focus. He has drawn near to you in ways too deep for sound. The greatest revelations are not spoken to the ear, but to the heart. You are learning to discern the sacred patterns of heaven, to recognize His movement not by noise, but by knowing. When Elijah fled into the wilderness, desperate to hear from God, he stood on a mountain while wind tore the rocks apart. Fire blazed, and earthquakes shook the ground. Yet the Lord was not in any of those things. The voice came afterward, small and still, gentle yet powerful enough to change a prophet's direction. That same whisper is what you are being trained to hear. The stillness that surrounds you is not void, it's full of divine instruction. In quiet moments, the Spirit speaks to you about things that words cannot carry. He stirs memories, highlights scripture, and drops peace into your soul as confirmation. That's how heaven speaks when it wants to bypass your mind and go straight to your heart. Sometimes you crave a visible sign, but God gives you inward peace instead. That peace is not the absence of confusion. It is the evidence of divine alignment. The world teaches you to measure success by what you can see. Heaven teaches you to measure it by what you can sense. And what you are sensing now, this sacred silence, is a sign of transformation. You are not forgotten in the quiet, you are being fine-tuned. The silence is sharpening your discernment so that when noise returns, you won't be deceived by every sound. God is training your spirit to distinguish His whisper from the world's distraction. He is building within you a heart that listens before it speaks, that discerns before it decides, that trusts even when it doesn't hear. The silence of heaven is never random. It always carries purpose. Sometimes God is silent because He has already spoken, and He is waiting for obedience, not more conversation. Other times He is silent because He is working behind the scenes, shifting pieces you cannot yet see. The silence is where your faith matures, where you learn to believe in what you can't feel, to rest in what you can't understand. There is strength in this silence. When the world's voices grow louder, you will carry peace because you've been trained in stillness. While others panic at delay, you will wait with calm assurance because you've learned that waiting time is never wasted time. You will no longer need constant confirmation. The stillness has already anchored you in trust. The Spirit whispers through the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. That gentle whisper, so easily missed by the distracted heart, is what you are learning to recognize. God does not reveal Himself to prove His existence. He reveals Himself to guide your intimacy. The more you quiet your world, the clearer He becomes. In this stillness, He is rebuilding your ability to hear truth over noise, direction over distraction, destiny over doubt. Silence is not the opposite of communication, it's the birthplace of revelation. It's where God removes the unnecessary so you can notice the eternal. It's where He quiets the demands of others so you can finally hear His desire for you. You've been listening to too many voices, some encouraging, others discouraging, but now, heaven is simplifying your soundscape. The noise is being stripped away so only His whisper remains. When you finally begin to rest in that whisper, fear loses its grip. Anxiety fades because peace becomes your atmosphere. You stop chasing clarity because you realize the silence itself is clarity. God is not ignoring you. He's inviting you deeper. And those who learn to hear Him in the quiet will never be shaken when the world screams. So let the silence speak. Let it wash over your restless mind and remind you that stillness is strength. What God is doing in your spirit right now does not need noise to be real. The whisper is enough. The quiet is holy. And if you can stay still long enough to hear it, that whisper will carry you into everything He's promised. Some nights, heaven seems to stand still, watching, recording, remembering. You may not hear the sound of wings or feel the rush of divine wind, But make no mistake, heaven's eyes are upon you. There are watchers in the unseen realm, angels who have witnessed every hidden prayer, every quiet act of obedience, every tear you thought fell unnoticed. They move not at random, but in rhythm with your faith. You see, chosen one, your life is not just being lived, it's being documented. Every unseen yes to God, every temptation resisted, every act of love performed when no one was watching it is written in the archives of eternity. While the world counts applause, heaven counts faithfulness. Angels record it like artists painting strokes of light across the canvas of your destiny. When you choose integrity in secret, the heavens take note. When you forgive in silence, when you bless your enemies without announcing it, when you worship even while wounded, those are the moments that echo through heaven's halls. Every small act of surrender becomes a seed, and every seed sown in tears becomes a harvest of glory. You may wonder, does it matter if no one sees? Oh, it matters more than you can imagine. The unseen is where eternal value is born. Heaven measures your faith not by the noise of your praise, but by the depth of your obedience. Like a candle flickering in an empty room, your faith in hidden places sends a light signal across the heavens. The angels see it. God sees it. The silence you keep is not empty, it is radiant. We are reminded through the sacred writings in the second book of Chronicles. Chapter 16, verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong on behalf of those whose hearts are fully committed to him. That means even now, heaven's gaze is searching, sweeping across cities and nations, not for the loudest voice but for the truest heart. And when the divine gaze finds you tired, faithful, still believing, heaven leans in closer. You are seen, not by the fleeting eyes of men, but by the eternal eyes of God. Imagine this: you are standing in a field at night. The world is asleep. The stars are silent, and the only sound is the soft rustle of your breath. It feels lonely, but above you, unseen watchers stand guard. Every act of trust you offer sends ripples through the unseen realm, lighting the dark like lanterns along a heavenly road. You are never unseen. The angels who encamp around you know your name. Sometimes you think your effort is small, your contribution unnoticed, but the kingdom is built by small things done with great love. Like drops of water carving stone, your quiet obedience shapes eternity. God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for persistence. The faithful heart, the one that keeps showing up, is more powerful than the loudest preacher. Heaven rewards endurance. And here's the truth: few dare to say your faith journey is not meant to be walked alone. You are part of something vast, an army of believers carrying light in silence. When you share a message that touched your heart, when you support the voice that reminded you who you are, you become part of that divine ripple. Every like, every share, every prayer, every offering, it's not about numbers. It's about participation in heaven's movement. If this message has stirred something within you, let your small act today be a seed of connection. Maybe you press the like button not for vanity, but as a sign of agreement with heaven's truth. Maybe you share this word so someone lost in their silence can find hope again. Or maybe, if you feel led, you sow into the message itself. Your donation becomes another candle lit in the darkness, helping the word reach another soul in need of light. Think of it like this: when you give, when you share, when you support, you are not feeding an algorithm. You are feeding a mission. You are helping the light continue to burn, ensuring that more chosen ones awaken to who they are. Every act, no matter how small, is noticed by the one whose eyes never sleep. The tree of destiny does not grow from applause. It grows from sacrifice. And you, beloved, have been faithful through so much. The angels take note not of your perfection, but of your persistence. You are proof that heaven's patience has not been wasted. So as you sit here, reading these words in the quiet of your own space, know this: you are not alone. You are part of a living movement, souls rising from silence, faith being recorded in eternal ink. Heaven is watching, not in judgment, but in joy. Your life is the testimony that God's silence never meant his absence, it meant his trust. And as you step forward, keep shining, keep sowing, keep believing. Because one day soon, when heaven opens its books, your name will be found among those who remained faithful when no one was watching. The waiting can feel like fire. Can't it? Days stretch long, nights echo with questions, and sometimes you wonder if your prayers are floating into nothingness. Yet what feels like delay is actually refinement. The longer the fire burns, the purer the gold become, and you, beloved, are the gold heaven is refining. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons, they are holy furnaces. Every delay, every unanswered question, every moment that feels motionless is shaping your endurance. God is not punishing you with waiting, he is protecting you through it. Because what you are called to carry cannot be rushed. A shallow root cannot hold a great tree, and a hurried soul cannot hold holy glory. You are standing in the refining fire of heaven's timing, and though it feels unbearable at times, it is also unbreakable. The pain that scorches your expectations is also polishing your purpose. The fire does not destroy what's real, it only reveals it. Everything false is burning away fear, impatience, doubt, and pride, leaving behind only what is eternal and true. It's easy to want to escape the fire, to pray for immediate relief. But if you leave too soon, you'll step out unready. The refining must be complete. God does not send fire to harm his chosen ones. He sends it to ensure their purity, to cleanse the heart from everything that cannot enter the next season. The same flame that tests you will one day testify of you. Remember, every great story in Scripture carried a waiting season. Abraham waited decades for the promised son. Joseph endured years in prison before the palace. Moses tended sheep in the desert before leading a nation. And even Jesus waited 30 years before stepping into public purpose. Waiting is not absence, it is alignment. When you wait well, you are not losing time, you are collecting wisdom. The Spirit reminds us through the words in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. The image is powerful, a refiner seated, not pacing. God is not anxious about your process. He sits because he is in control. He watches the fire carefully, never allowing it to burn longer than necessary. The silversmith knows the silver is ready when he can see his reflection in it. And that, beloved, is what God is doing with you, turning up the heat until his likeness shines through your life. So if you feel surrounded by heat right now, do not despair. You are not being consumed, you are being transformed. Every trial has purpose, every delay has direction. The silence you feel during this refining is the sound of heaven working deeply within you. The absence of noise does not mean the absence of movement. The fire is not random, it is surgical, burning precisely where healing is needed. Waiting seasons also expose motives. They reveal whether you want God's hand or God's heart. Many seek the gift and abandon the giver when the wait grows long. But you, chosen one, have been marked by endurance. You have learned to love him even when he seems quiet. That kind of love is unshakable, it's covenant love. And when your refining is done, you will emerge with a depth that cannot be taught, only forged. Sometimes you see others advancing while you sit in stillness. Do not envy them. Some build fast and fall faster. You are being built to last. Your foundations are being strengthened beneath the surface, and when you rise, it will not be momentary, it will be generational. The fire that tried to destroy you is the same fire that will announce you. Waiting also rewires how you see time. It teaches you that divine timing isn't delay, it's design. It protects you from what you're not ready for yet and prepares you for what you could not handle before. Heaven's schedule is never early, never late, it is precise. And when God finally says now, everything that seems slow will unfold suddenly. This Christmas, as the world rushes ahead, you are being slowed by heaven not to punish you, but to prepare you. You are being reminded that speed is not strength and silence is not stagnation. You are being positioned to receive what only mature faith can carry. So take a deep breath. Let the refining fire finish its work. Do not run from the process, rest in it. The gold that emerges from this season will carry a radiance that darkness cannot dim. You will shine not because of what you have done, but because of what you have endured. And when you finish reading these words, do something simple, type 777 in the comments below. That number symbolizes divine completion, the fullness of God's perfect work. Let it be your silent declaration, I trust the process. I will not fear the fire. As you type it, remember you are not waiting for the promise is waiting for you to be ready. The refining is not rejection, it is recognition. Heaven has seen your faithfulness and chosen you for deeper fire, not lesser favor. The weight may feel heavy, but so is the crown being forged for you in this flame. There is a reason the darkness has been whispering so loudly lately. The enemy always grows restless when heaven begins to move. When he cannot destroy your destiny, he will try to distract you from it. His strategy is not always chaos, it is often comfort. He tries to make you settle, to trade purpose for distraction, calling for compromise disguised as peace. In these quiet days, when the answers seem delayed and the silence feels heavy, the enemy loves to whisper, "Nothing's happening." But the truth is, everything is happening, just not where you can see it. The enemy cannot stop what God is doing, but he can try to make you stop believing it. That's his only weapon, distraction that leads to discouragement. You see, he doesn't need you to sin, he just needs you to stop listening. He doesn't have to break you, he only has to keep you busy. He knows that if your attention is divided, your anointing is diminished. So he fills your mind with noise, with false urgencies, with the constant pull of things that seem harmless but steal your focus inch by inch. This is why heaven has allowed silence to detox your spirit from distractions that dilute your discernment. The stillness is not punishment, it's purification. The quiet is God's way of reminding you that peace and progress are not found in endless motion. They are found in alignment. You are being trained to live from presence, not pressure. There's something sacred about a soul that refuses distraction. When you learn to ignore the noise, you begin to see clearly. You start to notice divine patterns, the small miracles hidden in ordinary days, the subtle ways God confirms his promises. Distraction blurs your vision, stillness restores it. The enemy will always try to get you to measure progress by visible movement. But the Spirit measures progress by obedience. It's not about how much you are doing, but how deeply you are trusting. The enemy fears your stillness because stillness means surrender, and surrender means victory. Every time you choose peace over panic, you are defeating him without a word. Distraction also comes disguised as comparison. You look around and see others advancing, doors opening, opportunities flowing, applause echoing. It can make your journey feel slow, your purpose small. But remember, comparison is the thief of clarity. The moment you fix your eyes on someone else's race, you lose sight of your own finish line. God's timing for you has nothing to do with their timeline. And sometimes, distraction comes in the form of weariness. When hope delays, your heart grows tired. You start to believe the lie that maybe the promise was never real. Maybe the silence means the story has ended. But listen closely, the silence is not a period, it's a comma. The sentence continues. The delay is not denial, it's divine pacing. Heaven is synchronizing every piece of the puzzle before revealing the full picture. Heaven speaks clearly through the writings in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Notice the word like, he is not a lion, he only imitates one. His roar is an illusion designed to intimidate, not to devour. The real lion, the Lion of Judah, roars on your behalf. You belong to the voice of victory, not to the sound of fear. When the false roar comes, and stay grounded, remember who you are and whose you are. The enemy's goal is simple: to distract you from your assignment long enough that you forget your authority. But you are learning that silence is not vulnerability. It is strength under control. You are no longer reacting to every sound, every emotion, every circumstance. You are anchored. You've learned that the one who can stay silent in faith is the one who can move mountains in power. This season is teaching you how to carry peace into every storm, how to stand firm when confusion rises, how to see beyond the surface of what seems still. You are being trained to walk by revelation, not reaction. The Spirit is building a new reflex in you to pause, to pray, to perceive before you proceed. When you master stillness, the enemy loses access to your focus. You stop dancing to his distractions and start walking in divine rhythm. And that rhythm is steady, measured by grace, led by wisdom, sustained by truth. So let the distractions fall away. Let the noise fade into the background. You are not losing momentum, you are gaining mastery. The silence around you is not emptiness. It is a spiritual fortress where your faith is being recalibrated, your heart recentered, and your eyes refixed on the only voice that matters. The roar of the enemy cannot reach the one who abides in peace. You have become that person, unmoved, unbothered, unbroken. The silence is not the end of your story. It is the sound of your victory being written. You may not realize it, but prophecy lives inside you. Not the kind written on paper or spoken from pulpits, but the kind God whispers directly into the depths of your being. Long before you could name it, He planted it within you, a divine sentence written across your soul. That's why your life has never fit into ordinary molds. You are not just moving through time. Time is moving around you. You carry a word from heaven. And every season of silence, struggle, and surrender has been shaping that word into reality. When God gives a prophecy, it doesn't arrive fully formed, it arrives as a seed. That seed carries destiny within it, but it must be watered by tears, patience, and obedience. Every prayer you've whispered in faith has been watering that seed. Every moment you've chosen to forgive instead of retaliate, to trust instead of fear, to keep walking when quitting seemed easier. All of it has been part of the divine cultivation of what you carry. You've wondered why the journey has been long and why the fulfillment seems delayed. It's because what's growing in you isn't small. The greater the prophecy, the deeper the roots must go. And deep roots take time. God is ensuring that when your promise blooms, it won't be uprooted by circumstance or swayed by human approval. You are not waiting for your prophecy. Your prophecy is waiting for you to be strong enough to hold it. Sometimes carrying prophecy feels heavy. It sets you apart, makes you restless, even misunderstood. People around you may not see what God has spoken over your life. They may question your choices, your patience, your silence. But that's because they weren't in the room when God spoke your name into purpose. They don't hear what heaven hears when it looks at you. You are not here to convince them, you are here to obey Him. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment is not working against your prophecy, it's working for it. The crushing you felt has been producing oil, the anointing that will make your words carry weight when you finally speak. God has been teaching you how to carry revelation without arrogance, how to walk in calling without craving attention. Because when the time comes for your prophecy to manifest, you won't need to announce it. The glory itself will speak. The Spirit reminds us through the words written in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision awaits its appointed time. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. That verse holds the heartbeat of your current season. The vision awaits. It does not vanish, and it does not die. It simply waits for divine synchronization. Even now, what you carry is aligning with places, people, and purposes you have not yet met. While you are being refined, your prophecy is being prepared. Heaven works both sides of the miracle, shaping you here, shaping the promise there until both meet perfectly in time. There's something sacred about divine waiting. It teaches you to love the process as much as the promise. It forces you to rely not on signs, but on the sender. Each day you remain faithful in obscurity. Your spirit grows stronger. You begin to sense heaven's rhythm more clearly. You stop chasing proof and start embracing peace. That is how prophecy matures, not in noise, but in nurture. God often conceals His greatest prophecies inside ordinary seasons. He wraps glory in disguise so that only the faithful recognize it. You may think nothing is happening, but inside, mountains are moving. Invisible chains are breaking. Spiritual soil is shifting. The ground beneath you may seem still, but heaven is working beneath its surface. The seed of prophecy inside you does not fear time. It was spoken by the one who created time, and because of that, no delay can destroy it, no opposition can undo it, no silence can silence it. You are carrying a living word, and living words do not die, they evolve. Think of Mary, the mother of Jesus. When the angel spoke her promise, she didn't fully understand it. She carried it quietly, pondering it in her heart, even through confusion, even through pain. You are walking a similar path. You are carrying something holy that not everyone will understand. The world sees a season of stillness, but heaven sees a womb of prophecy, expanding with every breath of faith you take. And when the appointed time arrives, the silence will break, the prophecy will speak. The same people who questioned your patience will witness your purpose unfold before their eyes. But until then, keep nurturing it. Keep believing. Keep tending to the unseen word that God planted within you. You are not barren, you are becoming. You are not behind, you are being aligned. Every delay is divine timing in disguise. And when your prophecy finally unfolds, it will testify of this truth that the silence was not an interruption, it was incubation. There are moments when it feels like time itself is mocking you, when doors you prayed for remain closed, when promises seem delayed beyond reason, when soon feels like never. Yet, heaven's clock does not tick like the clocks of men. What feels like a pause to you is perfect alignment to God. The calendar of heaven runs by obedience, not by impatience. You see, chosen one, the hardest test of faith is not in the fire, it's in the waiting. Fire is visible, waiting is invisible. Fire demands courage, waiting demands trust. And trust is what separates those who visit purpose from those who carry it. God is teaching you that His timing is not late, it's layered. Every not yet is heaven rearranging the world to make room for what you carry. If you could see behind the veil, you would realize that the delay you despise is actually divine choreography. Heaven is weaving details together, people, places, and even problems to serve your destiny. The miracle is not waiting to happen. It is waiting for you to be ready. Every time you stay faithful in the middle of not yet, you build capacity for the now that's coming. You may think that you've lost time, that years have slipped through your fingers like sand. But God wastes nothing. The detours were not mistakes, they were maps. The pauses were not punishments, they were protection. Every delay was heaven's way of ensuring that when you arrive, you can remain. Because premature promotion is just delayed disaster. You are not late, you are in sync with eternity. There are prayers you prayed that seem to vanish into the air. But prayer doesn't disappear, it deposits. Each prayer becomes a seed stored in heaven's soil, waiting for divine rain. And when the rain comes, what once seemed forgotten will sprout suddenly. That's how God works. He builds quietly, then reveals suddenly. The Spirit declares through the writings of Peter in his second letter, chapter 3, verse 8. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. That single sentence reshapes the way we view time. To God, your years of waiting are not wasted, they are just moments in His eternal plan. The Lord is not slow, He is strategic. What seems delayed to earth is perfectly on time in heaven's rhythm. When your heart aches for speed, God's love answers with precision. There is something sacred about divine pacing. It keeps you humble, grounded, dependent. If everything came quickly, you would assume it was your doing. But the wait reminds you it's grace, not grind, that carries you forward. The delay preserves your heart while God enlarges your destiny. What you perceive as inactivity is actually divine incubation. Sometimes you ask, why not now? And heaven responds, because later will reveal my glory more fully. If God answered every prayer instantly, you would miss the transformation that happens in the waiting. The process makes the promise sustainable. The wilderness trains you for the weight of the promised land. The delay refines your motives so that when blessing arrives, pride does not follow it. You are walking in what I call the sacred slow, that divine rhythm where God's pace and your purpose intertwine. This rhythm feels frustrating when measured by earthly standards, but it produces depth that speed can never give. The sacred slow stretches your faith until it touches trust. You will soon understand why the wait was necessary. The longer the preparation, the greater the manifestation. The dream that felt dormant is not dead, it's maturing. The longer it stays hidden, the stronger it grows. And when it finally comes forth, it will arrive with power, permanence, and peace. So do not measure your progress by the pace of others. Some blessings must marinate before they manifest. Some promises require silence before they can speak. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. There's a divine beauty in slow miracles. They take time to shape hearts, to heal wounds, to align lives. You are being positioned not just for an answer, but for impact. The delay is divine design, ensuring that when the door opens, you won't walk in wounded, but whole. Now pause for a moment. Feel the truth of this in your spirit. You are not waiting in vain. Every quiet hour, every tearful prayer, every moment of faith that seems unacknowledged, it all counts. It all builds. Heaven is never late, only deliberate. And now, as an act of agreement, type "I trust God's timing." Let those 4 words become a declaration of surrender. When you write them, you're not just typing, you're testifying. You're telling heaven that you choose trust over frustration, peace over panic, and patience over pressure. Every time you affirm that, the enemy's whisper loses power. Your spirit aligns with heaven's rhythm again. And in that moment, the silence around you transforms. It becomes a sanctuary where trust matures and destiny breathes. You are not waiting for the right moment. You are becoming the right moment. Some nights this season feel quieter than ever. The streets glitter with lights. The air hums with music, and yet inside your spirit there is a deeper hush, as if heaven itself is holding its breath. You have felt it, haven't you? That strange stillness, like the pause before dawn, when the sky holds its last darkness just before it turns to gold. This Christmas is not silent by accident. God is still speaking, just in softer tones. The world looks for grand signs in fireworks and miracles that shake the earth, but heaven loves to hide revelation in small, tender moments. God does not always thunder. Sometimes he whispers through simplicity. It was in the quiet night that shepherds first heard angelic songs. It was in the stillness of a manger that the King of Glory took his first breath. Even now, he is sending signs, but they don't always look supernatural. They often look ordinary. You will find the voice of heaven in small kindnesses, in quiet peace, in the unexpected warmth of grace. Every sunrise that meets your eyes without thunder is a sign. Every breath you draw without striving is proof that grace still flows. Heaven hides its miracles in motion so gentle that only still hearts can see. You are living in wonder even when it wears the disguise of routine. And sometimes, the holiest messages come wrapped in interruption, a delay, a canceled plan, an unexpected encounter. What feels like detour is often divine direction. The same God who guided shepherds by starlight guides you now by subtle shifts. Pay attention, ordinary moments often carry extraordinary instructions. The Spirit reminds us through the writings of Luke, chapter 2, verse 8. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. That verse is a portrait of stillness and revelation colliding. While the world slept, humble hearts stayed awake and heaven visited them first. God bypassed the palaces and chose the pastures. He revealed glory to those who were faithful in the dark. That's what he's doing for you. In the quiet fields of your faith, heaven is preparing an announcement. Every silent night carries hidden instruction. You are learning how to notice God in the subtle, how to feel his nearness in the natural. Every flicker of hope you feel is not coincidence. It's a message disguised as peace. Every time a verse lingers in your heart, or a song stirs tears unexpectedly, heaven is whispering, "I am still here." Beloved, the signs you seek are already surrounding you. They're not always written in the sky, they're written in your soul. God is teaching you to interpret them, not through fear, but through faith. The ache in your chest, the stirring in your spirit, the restlessness that won't let you settle, it's heaven's language calling you to awareness. Imagine a candle burning in a dark room. Its light seems small, yet it transforms the space completely. The silence around you is that dark room, and your faith is the candle. The more you focus on the flame, the less the darkness can intimidate you. That is how you will see the signs of God, by focusing on the light that's already burning inside. You are learning to live like the shepherd, steady, watchful, faithful in the fields no one else wants to stand in. They weren't famous, they were available. They weren't powerful, they were present. And when heaven opened the sky, they were the ones ready to see. That's what this season is, your field of faith. Keep tending it. Keep watching, even when nothing seems to happen. The first sound of angels always comes to those who remain awake in spirit. And when revelation finally comes, it will be more beautiful than you imagined, because it will meet you where you stayed faithful. Now, if this message speaks to the quiet corners of your heart, take a moment to breathe it in. Let it settle. You don't need to shout your faith. Sometimes whispering yes to God is the loudest worship of all. But if this word has reminded you that heaven is still moving in your silence, I want to invite you gently, sincerely, to keep this light burning beyond yourself. When you like or share this message, it becomes more than a gesture. It becomes a spark. Someone out there, silent, hurting, unseen, might need exactly this flame to find their way again. And if you feel led to give, to sow into the voice that keeps pointing you back to purpose, know that your seed becomes part of the story. Your support is not for me. It's for every heart still learning to hear God in the quiet. Every donation is another candle lit in the night, another soul reminded that silence can still sing. So as you move through this Christmas season, notice the small signs: a song lyric that calms your heart, a friend's unexpected kindness, a sudden wave of peace after prayer. These are heaven's footprints, scattered like snowflakes on your path. Don't rush past them, gather them, treasure them. They are proof that God still walks with you, even when He whispers. The night is still holy. The silence is still sacred when you, chosen one, are still being written into the story of divine light breaking through ordinary darkness. There is a sacred lineage you are part of. Chosen one, a lineage of those who learn to wait well. The world often celebrates those who act quickly, who seize opportunity with speed, but heaven honors those who pause until the divine signal comes. Every generation has its silent ones, those hidden figures who bore greatness quietly until God's appointed hour revealed them. You are one of them. The weight of waiting has pressed you, but it has also purified you. Every day of stillness has been shaping your spirit into something timeless. You are not just enduring this silence, you are inheriting strength through it. There is a mantle, invisible yet real, that rests upon those who have learned to stand firm in seasons of obscurity. That mantle once rested on Mary in Nazareth, on Joseph in Egypt, on David in the caves of Adullam. Now, it rests on you. Each of them faced the paradox of purpose. They were chosen yet concealed, favored yet forgotten, anointed yet waiting. They had to trust God's unseen timing more than their own visible surroundings. You are walking that same narrow road, where faith becomes sight only after obedience has been proven. Mary carried a promise that no one else could see. For months, she lived in the tension between divine revelation and human misunderstanding. But her quiet endurance became the birthplace of glory. Joseph dreamed of greatness while sitting behind prison bars. Yet his waiting became the training ground for wisdom that would one day save nations. David was anointed king long before he wore a crown. His wilderness years forged a heart that could lead without pride. Every story of greatness carries a silent chapter. Every divine mission begins in hiding, and every chosen one must walk through waiting to receive their mantle. We are reminded through the writings of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. That is not poetry, it is prophecy. It is the divine pattern written across the lives of all who are called. Waiting is not wasting, it is wing building. The eagle does not rush the wind, it studies it. It waits until the perfect current rises, then spreads its wings and lets the unseen carry it higher. You are learning that same discipline to sense heaven's wind before you move. There's something holy about those who wait well. The world rushes ahead, desperate for recognition. But the anointed learn to abide. In their stillness, they are storing strength. In their silence, they are gathering vision. While others exhaust themselves with noise, the chosen ones quietly accumulate wisdom. Then, when the moment comes, they move not with effort, but with ease. Waiting well is not passive. It's deeply active. It's the art of holding steady under divine tension, of trusting that the hand that holds you will also launch you. Every delay is strengthening your faith muscles. Every not yet is preparing your soul for the weight of now. Heaven's training rarely looks impressive, but it produces unstoppable endurance. Look at your life, the patience you never had before, the peace that now surprises you, the maturity that suffering carved into your heart. These are the fruits of waiting. You are no longer the person who begged for answers. You are the one who has learned to rest in assurance. You have moved from pleading to partnering. There is a reason why waiting precedes wings. The eagle's feathers grow stronger in resistance. Likewise, your faith has been refined by seasons that tested everything you thought you knew. You no longer chase opportunities, you recognize assignments. You no longer demand timelines, you trust divine timing. You no longer panic in silence, you perceive preparation. Heaven's greatest warriors are never rushed, they are revealed. They move when the wind of God moves. They speak when silence has given them the weight of heaven's words. That's what's happening in you. The stillness is filling you with authority, with perspective, with depth. Soon, the mantle you've been growing into will become visible. Others may call it sudden, but you will know the truth. It wasn't sudden, it was seeded. Every hidden year, every silent tear, every faithful step has been crafting a garment of glory around your soul. So where your waiting is worship, every sigh of surrender, every whispered prayer, every moment you choose to stay faithful is a thread in that heavenly robe. When your moment arrives, you won't just walk into destiny, you'll wear it. You are part of a lineage of patience, a generation of those who trust the quiet work of God. The world may rush on, but heaven remains steady. You, too, are becoming steady, an unshakable vessel for divine power. And when heaven finally says go, the same silence that once seemed heavy will become the wind that lifts you higher. There will come a moment, chosen one, when the silence that has surrounded you for so long will suddenly break, not with noise, but with revelation. It will not be a violent disruption. It will be a divine unveiling. What you have endured in secret will step into sight. What was hidden in your heart will begin to speak. The same silence that once felt suffocating will now echo with the sound of fulfillment. For so long, heaven has been quiet, not because it forgot you, but because it was finishing its work in you. When the silence breaks, it will not only bring answers, it will bring alignment. Everything that once felt random will suddenly make sense. The closed doors will reveal their purpose. The detours will expose their direction, and even the tears you shed will shimmer with meaning. When God finally speaks after a long silence, His words are not gentle ripples, they are waves that change landscapes. The shift happens fast, but the preparation was slow. Every quiet night was building the foundation for this sound. You will hear it first, not with your ears, but with your spirit, the unmistakable knowing that it's time. You have waited faithfully, obeyed quietly, trusted deeply, and because of that, heaven can now entrust you with volume. Not noise for attention, but sound for impact. When you open your mouth, your words will carry the same weight that silence gave them. Every moment you held your tongue when others spoke in haste has given your voice spiritual gravity. When you speak next, atmospheres will change. We are reminded through the words of Jesus recorded in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8, verse 17. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. That is the promise you now stand under. The hidden will emerge, the quiet will sing, the unseen will be unveiled. Every act of obedience that seemed unnoticed will soon be displayed as divine orchestration. Heaven does not lose track of any seed you've sown in silence, it's simply been watering them beneath the soil. And now, shoots are pushing through the surface, but when the silence breaks, be ready. Revelation always carries responsibility. The same voice that releases promise also calls for stewardship. The purpose that once felt distant will now demand your participation. The light that shines on you will also reveal what still needs cleansing within you. This is why the silence was necessary. It purified you before the unveiling. The silence taught you restraint. It trained you not to waste words. It broke your attachment to validation. It made you comfortable in obscurity so that when visibility comes, pride will not follow it. What was once a burden has become your blessing. The quiet season did not mute you. It made your voice worth hearing. You will recognize the moment the silence breaks because peace will precede it. Not chaos, not panic peace. God never shouts over storms. He stills them before speaking. When His word comes forth, it will not rush you. It will release you. It will feel like exhale after holding your breath for years. And others will notice. They will see something in your eyes, a glow that wasn't there before, a confidence that doesn't come from effort but from encounter. They will ask what changed, and you will know the silence broke and heaven spoke. But here is the mystery: when the silence breaks, you will realize it never truly existed. God was speaking all along, just in ways too deep for words, in timing, in tension, in transformation. The quiet was His language of trust, teaching you to listen beyond sound. Now, as you read this, you may feel a stirring inside, a holy vibration in your spirit that says, "This is it. This is what I've been waiting for." That's the sound of your next chapter approaching. The wait is nearly over. What was whispered in the dark will soon be proclaimed in the light. So today, make a declaration not to rush the moment, but to recognize it. Type 888 in the comments below. That number represents new beginnings, the never-ending flow of grace, the rhythm of divine cycles fulfilled and renewed. When you type it, let it be your act of faith, a prophetic sign that the silence over your life is giving way to song. As you do, remember, heaven never forgets a heart that stayed faithful through silence. You are about to hear what silence was preparing you to receive. And when the sound finally comes, it will not just mark the end of waiting, it will announce the beginning of becoming. The breaking of silence is not noise, it is revelation. And when heaven finally speaks your name again, the world will hear the echo. When silence finally lifts, something shifts inside you. Words that once trembled on your tongue now carry weight. It's as if the stillness you endured has filled every syllable with fire. You begin to speak, not from emotion, but from encounter. Every sentence becomes a spark that ignites hearts. Every truth you utter carries the fragrance of heaven. You have waited long enough that your voice now holds eternity's tone. For years, you spoke to be heard. Now you speak to heal. You no longer crave reaction, you seek revelation. This transformation is the fruit of silence. God was not withholding your voice, He was honing it. Every quiet moment was sharpening your words until they could cut through confusion and comfort the broken at the same time. You used to wonder why God silenced you when others seemed free to speak freely. Now you know it was because He was building authority, not volume. The world does not need more noise, it needs more weight. And weight comes only from those who have carried the silence of obedience. You have learned that not every word deserves to be spoken, and not every thought deserves to be shared. The silence has made you selective, intentional, wise. You are no longer a messenger of your own emotions. You are a vessel for divine expression. When you open your mouth now, heaven leans in. There's a mystery to the way God anoints voices. Before He sends them, He silences them. Before He lets them declare, He teaches them to discern. Before He gives them words for others, He teaches them stillness with Himself. That's why your season of silence felt so long, because God wasn't just preparing what you would say, He was transforming who you are when you say it. And now, your words will no longer just fill space, they will shift atmospheres. You will find yourself speaking life into weary hearts without even realizing it. You will say something simple, and someone's spirit will awaken. You will whisper encouragement, and chains will fall in unseen places because your voice no longer carries opinion. It carries oil. According to the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 30. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of justice. That verse is now the story of your life. Righteousness has replaced reaction. Wisdom has replaced impulse. Justice has replaced judgment. The silence has purified your speech until it mirrors heaven's tone, steady, truthful, and saturated with grace. When you speak now, you won't need to explain your authority. The presence that accompanies your words will do that for you. People will sense something beyond personality, something sacred. They may not understand it, but they will feel it. It's not charisma, it's clarity born of consecration. The same silence that once felt like isolation was actually your ordination. You see, words that come from untested mouths fade quickly. But words forged in fire endure. Your silence was the forge, your pain the flame, your faith the metal. Now, what comes out of your mouth has been refined in that fire. The words you release will carry healing for others because they were first tested on you. When Moses came down from the mountain, his face shone because he had spoken with God. He didn't advertise his encounter, the light did. You will not need to strive for influence. Your anointing will speak louder than your effort. Heaven will make sure your words find the ears they're meant to reach. And with this new voice comes new responsibility. God will begin to trust you with divine secrets, with words meant to comfort one or challenge many. Sometimes He will ask you to speak. Other times, He will ask you to stay silent again. Because the mature know that not every revelation is meant for release. The power of your new voice lies as much in when you don't speak as when you do. This is what it means to be trusted by heaven, to be able to carry revelation without needing recognition. You have become a guardian of truth, not just a speaker of it. Your words are weapons against despair, bridges for reconciliation, balm for brokenness. And it all began with silence. So now, as you stand on the other side of your quiet season, remember your voice is no longer your own. It belongs to purpose. You speak now as one who knows the cost of words. Each syllable you release is a seed. Each truth you declare a torch. Let your words move slowly, like rivers carrying life through dry places. Let them heal where there has been hurt, awaken where there has been apathy, and guide where there has been confusion. You are not just speaking, you are building altars of remembrance with your voice. The silence once taught you to listen. Now it teaches you to speak. Your voice has become a bridge between heaven and earth, a living echo of divine wisdom shaped by stillness. And as you walk forward, remember this: the silence that once seemed like absence was only heaven's way of ensuring that when you spoke again, your words would sound like Him. Glory grows in lonely places. You've learned this truth not by theory but by experience. The silence that once frightened you has become sacred ground, the place where your spirit discovered its true strength. You have walked through solitude not as punishment, but as preparation. Every hidden moment, every isolated night, every invisible struggle has been weaving a crown no human hand could forge. You may not have seen it forming, but heaven has. While the world saw your waiting, heaven saw your becoming. The weight you've carried, the tears you've sown, the prayers whispered when no one else was listening, each one has been recorded in eternity. Glory does not come cheap. It is the reward of surrender. And your surrender has been steady, quiet, and real. There is a mystery in solitude. It refines without applause. It strips away all illusion of control. It teaches you that strength is not the absence of weakness, but the presence of faith that endures weakness without giving up. You have been refined in the hidden furnace of God's love, and the reflection that now shines through you is not of pain, but of purpose. You once prayed for breakthrough, but God gave you stillness. You wanted doors to open, but He taught you how to knock in faith and wait without fear. That waiting built something stronger than success. It built character. The kind of character that will not crumble when glory finally arrives. The Spirit speaks through the words in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him. That verse does not romanticize suffering, it redeems it. The crown of life is not a reward for perfection, it's a symbol of perseverance, a reminder that your endurance has eternal weight. The lonely road you've walked has been the anointing ground for glory. Think of the crown not as gold and jewels, but as light, a radiance that rests upon those who refuse to quit. Each piece of it forged from moments you almost gave up but didn't. Every time you chose faith over fear, hope over despair, obedience over convenience, another fragment of glory was shaped. You have not lost your time. You have been gaining eternity's weight. Crowns are not handed to the hasty. They are forged slowly in solitude. Before anyone wears a crown in public, it must be formed in private. The same is true of you. The glory coming upon your life will not come through striving, but through surrender. It will not shine because of effort, but because of authenticity. In solitude, you learned what applause could never teach you, that your worth was never dependent on being seen. You became comfortable with invisibility because you learned that heaven's recognition matters more than human validation. You began to trust the unseen more than the visible. You found beauty in quiet mornings, holiness in ordinary acts, peace in the absence of noise. There is something unbreakable about a soul that has learned to be still. You no longer chase every opportunity because you know what's meant for you cannot miss you. You no longer fear rejection because you've seen that even rejection was redirection. You no longer resent waiting because waiting has become worship. Every crown requires weight to fit well, and that weight has been your trials, your refining fire. Without them, the crown would slip. With them, it sits perfectly. Glory is heavy because it must rest on shoulders strong enough to carry it. And your strength was not built in celebration, it was built in solitude. The world may not understand what has been happening inside you, but heaven smiles knowingly. You have been trained in silence, tempered by patience, clothed in humility. You carry a light now that does not flicker with opinion or fade with opposition. It burns steadily because it was kindled in the secret place. Soon that inner light will draw others not to you, but through you. People will sense the peace you carry, the calm you bring, the authority you release. They will not see the crown with their eyes, but they will feel its weight in your presence. And when that happens, you will know that solitude was never wasted. It was sacred preparation for shared glory. You have not been forgotten in the quiet room of waiting. You have been crowned in it. The light of your perseverance is not a spotlight, it's a torch. And you will carry it into places where others have forgotten hope. The silence was your anointing. The solitude was your shaping. And now, the glory that rises upon you is not borrowed, it's born of endurance. The crown you wear cannot be taken by time, tarnished by failure, or traded by fear. It is the crown of the faithful glory forged in solitude, worn in surrender, and carried in grace. Chosen one, this is the point in your journey where heaven tests not your passion but your perseverance. The silence has lasted longer than you expected. The refining fire has burned deeper than you thought possible. And yet you are still here, still believing, still standing. That in itself is a miracle, because the call of God is not proven by how loudly you begin, but by how faithfully you continue. You are standing on holy ground right now, the kind of place where angels lean in to watch who will remain when the feeling fades. You may feel weary, but your endurance is writing a story more powerful than any triumph. Heaven is watching not with judgment, but with joy. Because every time you choose faith over frustration, you prove the silence didn't win. The call to stand firm is not glamorous. It rarely comes with applause. It feels like walking through fog with no map, trusting that the road still exists. But that's exactly where faith thrives. God doesn't need you to run right now. He needs you to stand, to plant your feet in trust and whisper, "I will not quit." Because standing is the seed of victory. Standing isn't stillness, it's quiet strength. It's the posture of a warrior who refuses to surrender, even when visibility is gone. Faith doesn't always leap. Sometimes it simply lingers, refusing to bow to fear. When you stand, heaven calls it movement because your endurance shakes realms that sight cannot. And sometimes, standing means standing broken. Your knees tremble, your heart aches, yet you do not fall away. The wind may bend you, but it cannot uproot you. That is what God calls worship when you stay through the storm, not because it's easy, but because you've decided He's still worthy. We are reminded through the words of Paul written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That verse is not about waiting passively. It's about staying faithful when results seem invisible. At the proper time means your obedience will never return empty. Heaven's harvest comes to those who refuse to leave the field. The soil may look dry, but beneath the surface, roots are intertwining with promise. You've been sowing seeds of prayer, of service, of silent obedience. Even when you didn't see fruit, you still gave your yes. Heaven has recorded every one. And soon, the first green shoots will break through your soil of patience. But before that breakthrough comes, the test of endurance deepens. The question is never whether God will move, it's whether you'll stay rooted until He does. Imagine your faith as a lighthouse standing against relentless waves. Storm after storm crashes, yet it remains unmoved. Its strength isn't in its height, but in its foundation. You've been that lighthouse anchored by truth while chaos swirls around you. The light you carry guides others who are lost in their own storms. Even when you feel unseen, sometimes the greatest ministry you can offer is persistence. Just by continuing, you are preaching. Just by refusing to quit, you are declaring to every principality of darkness that your trust cannot be broken. Heaven calls that kind of faith precious. And beloved, this is the moment to lift your head again. The weariness that has tried to suffocate you is not permanent. It's simply the enemy's last attempt to make you stop before the season shifts. He knows what's coming. He knows that a harvest is near. And if you keep standing, you will outlast the storm that was designed to exhaust you. You've carried light through long nights. Now the horizon is changing color. Soon, the dawn will touch what's been dormant. But before it does, let gratitude flow. You've come farther than you realize. Heaven has seen every step, every tear, every quiet prayer. You have not wasted your endurance. You've invested it. Now, if these words reach you where you are, if they find you in that fragile space between fatigue and faith, pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. Let this truth sink in. Heaven never forgets endurance. Every heartbeat of persistence is worship. Every act of consistency is a song. And if this message has strengthened you, if it has reminded you to keep standing, I invite you to do something small but powerful. Help this light travel. When you like, share, or subscribe, you are not just reacting. You are reaching. You are allowing the voice that steadied you to steady someone else. There's someone out there right now ready to give up, scrolling in silence, needing the same reminder you just received. Your simple act can place this message in their path. And if your heart feels led to give, to sow into the continuation of this mission, let it be from gratitude, not guilt. Think of it as adding oil to a lamp. Every drop helps the flame burn longer, reaching further. Your giving is not a transaction, it's a testimony. It says, I believe this light must keep shining. Before you scroll away, take a moment to leave a few words below. Write what resonated. Speak from the heart. Because when you comment, you don't just respond, you join a conversation that becomes a chorus of faith echoing across this digital wilderness. Standing firm is never easy, but you were born for endurance. You are proof that perseverance still exists in a world addicted to quitting. You are the steady heartbeat of heaven's promise on earth. And as you continue, remember, strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply whispers, I'm still here. So stand tall, chosen one. The harvest is near. The storm is fading and heaven is smiling. The seeds you've sown in silence are ready to bloom beneath the coming dawn. The first light after a long night doesn't come with trumpet blasts or lightning bolts. It comes quietly soft, almost shy. Dawn never shouts its arrival, it simply appears. Gentle but unstoppable. That is how breakthrough comes for the ones who've waited through silence, not suddenly but steadily, not in noise but in knowing. You've been walking through a long night, and though you may not have seen the stars move, they have. The heavens have been shifting over your life, aligning invisible patterns. The horizon is changing color, even if your eyes can't see it yet. Breakthrough rarely announces itself, it creeps in disguised as peace. The dawn of your promise will not come as chaos, but as calm. It will not rush in, it will unfold. It will begin with small changes that feel almost insignificant, a new strength in your spirit, a clarity in your mind, a renewed hope in your heart. That's how heaven always begins its mornings, by breathing life back into what once seemed lifeless. The night you endured wasn't wasted. It softened your pride and sharpened your perception. It broke your dependence on control and taught you how to see with your spirit instead of your eyes. You have learned the rhythm of divine patience, and that rhythm is what draws the dawn closer. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. This isn't just a verse, it's a promise written into the structure of creation itself. Every night has an expiration date. Every sorrow has a sunrise scheduled in heaven's timing. The weeping was real, but it wasn't final. You have cried your way into clarity, you have mourned your way into maturity, and then now, joy is quietly approaching, not as an emotion, but as a revelation. Joy doesn't always arrive dancing, it often walks in softly, wearing the clothes of peace. It's the deep exhale after years of holding your breath. It's the realization that what tried to destroy you actually deepened you. Joy isn't laughter alone. It's restoration. It's knowing that the darkness didn't win. You've walked through seasons where every prayer felt like an echo, where every effort seemed unseen. But those were the hours before dawn, the darkest, most silent hour, when heaven prepares the earth for light. The absence of visible progress didn't mean inactivity. It meant the soil was being rearranged underground. Now, something has shifted. You may not have language for it yet, but your soul feels it, a holy tremor, a subtle stirring. That's the sound of dawn preparing to touch your life. It won't be loud, but it will be lasting. Think of how a flower unfolds when morning light touches it. It doesn't strain or struggle, it simply responds to the warmth. That's what you're about to experience. You will not need to force your breakthrough, you will only need to recognize it. The same God who whispered wait is now whispering rise. There's beauty in how God writes stories. He begins them in pain, builds them through patience, and reveals them in peace. What once broke you will soon bless you. The night has given you understanding, the dawn will give you expression. You will finally see what the darkness was working toward. Do not despise the slowness of this new beginning. Divine dawns unfold in layers. At first, it may feel like nothing has changed, but then a subtle brightness will touch your decisions, your relationships, your perspective. You will notice that your prayers carry power again. Your words find purpose again. Your heart believes again. The new light doesn't erase the night, it redeems it. And this time, you won't rush the morning. You've learned too much in the dark to waste what the light brings. You will savor it. You will walk slowly through it, aware of how sacred it is to finally breathe freely again. You will wake up each day knowing that endurance was not in vain. The dawn of God's timing will not demand your effort, it will invite your awareness. Your only task now is to stay awake to grace, to keep your heart open to wonder. The light that's coming will not blind you. It will bless you. The same God who held you in the night will walk with you into the morning. You won't need to start over from nothing. You'll rise from everything the darkness taught you. The ashes beneath your feet are not failure. They are proof of survival. You are the evidence that night cannot last forever. The darkness tried to silence you, but here you are, still breathing, still believing, still shining. That's victory. That's dawn. And as the light continues to grow, you will look back and realize that God never left you in the night. He was shaping your eyes to see the morning. This is the gentle reward for those who did not give up, to wake up one day and realize the silence has turned into song. And the song is your story, proof that even after the longest night, the dawn always comes. And now, chosen one, the silence has done its work. What began as confusion has become clarity. What once felt like exile has become elevation. The quiet that once frightened you now feels familiar wholly, even because you finally understand it was never emptiness. It was education. Heaven wasn't ignoring you, it was instructing you. The stillness was the final preparation before the unveiling of purpose. You stand at the threshold of something new. And this time, you are not rushing. You have learned the wisdom of waiting. You are no longer desperate for doors to open because you trust that the right ones will never stay closed. You carry peace now, steady, strong, unshakable peace, the kind that only grows in souls that have endured divine silence and survived it with faith intact. You are ready, not in the way the world defines readiness, but in the way heaven does. Ready in heart, not in haste. Ready in character, not in comfort. You are not the same person who began this journey. The impatience has turned to insight. The fear has turned to faith. The wounds have turned to wisdom. Heaven's timing has not failed you. It has formed you. The hidden months and muted seasons were never wasted. They were foundations being laid under the surface of your destiny. Every delay was a layer of strength. Every disappointment was redirection. Every unanswered prayer was an act of protection. Now, as the divine silence lifts, you find yourself equipped for what you once only dreamed of. Your spirit no longer trembles in uncertainty, it anchors in assurance. You've learned to hear God not only in words, but in whispers, in timing, in movement. You've come to recognize His presence even when He says nothing. That's maturity, the sacred knowing that His silence and His speech are equally holy. According to what is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 138, verse 8, "The Lord will fulfill His purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever." That is your promise. The purpose of God for your life cannot fail because His love does not fade. The silence you've walked through was love at work. Love that refuses to let you settle too soon. Love that delays you only to deliver you at the perfect time. Love that hides you until revealing you would no longer harm you. You were not being forgotten. You were being fortified. Every unexplainable moment was heaven tightening the bolts of your spirit so that when the winds came, you would not collapse. Every unanswered prayer was God whispering, "Not yet, because I am building something better." Now, as you look back, you see it, the divine pattern. Every season of silence was connected. Every tear was collected. Every pause had purpose. You are not emerging from the silence empty-handed. You carry insight, compassion, and authority that only time in the quiet could give. You have become a vessel fit for use, a voice that carries peace, a presence that brings calm. The readiness you now carry isn't loud, it's luminous. It doesn't need validation. It moves quietly, confidently, because it knows who sent it. You no longer need to chase the stage. The stage will find you when heaven signals that the moment has come. You've learned that destiny doesn't need your push, it responds to your posture. There's a soft kind of glory that rests on those who've waited well. It's not flamboyant, it's fragrant. It lingers in how you speak, how you walk, how you forgive. The silence shaped your spirit into gentleness, your heart into discernment, your faith into endurance. The person you have become is the very answer to the prayers you once prayed. The crown of purpose sits lightly because your shoulders have grown strong. You can now carry influence without arrogance, responsibility without resentment, and favor without fear. That is the fruit of the waiting. That is what readiness truly looks like, not a desperate chase for purpose, but a quiet confidence in God's pace. You are stepping into the next season not as someone begging for direction, but as someone who has become direction. Your life itself has turned into a message proof that silence is not the enemy of faith, but the furnace of it. And when the next silence comes, and it will, in another form, at another time, you will not panic. You will remember this sacred rhythm. You will remember how God speaks through stillness, how He shapes through pauses, how He prepares through peace. So walk forward with grace. The silence has ended, but its wisdom remains. Let it live in you. Let it guide your words, temper your emotions, and shape your perspective. You no longer fear the quiet, you honor it, because you know now that silence is the space where heaven breathes, where destiny matures, and where hearts become whole. This Christmas marks not just a celebration, it marks a transformation. You have been made ready. The silence was your teacher, the fire your refiner, and the waiting your anointing. You are no longer waiting for purpose to find you. You are purpose, walking in flesh and faith. Step forward, beloved. The heavens are open. The time is full. The silence has served its purpose, and now you carry its strength into sound. Beloved chosen one, if you've reached this moment, then you have walked through every word heaven intended for you. You have stood inside silence, wrestled with stillness, and risen with strength that can no longer be shaken. You didn't just read this message, you lived it. Each line found a home in you because your heart recognized its source. Now you know the silence was never punishment, it was preparation. This Christmas, you are no longer waiting for God to move, you are moving with Him. What once felt like pause was actually positioning. You are not the same. You are grounded, awakened, and ready. As you carry this revelation forward, remember, light multiplies when it is shared. Somewhere out there, another soul sits in silence tonight, wondering if God has forgotten them. You can be the voice that reaches them first. When you like, share, or subscribe, you're not just reacting, you're releasing. You are sending light into places algorithms can't reach, but hearts can. Leave a comment below. Tell what moment in this journey touched you the most. Your story may be the confirmation someone else is praying for right now. Words have power. Your testimony could break another chain of despair. And if you feel moved to give, do it not from pressure, but from purpose. Every seed sown here keeps this flow of anointed messages alive, allowing light to travel further and reach deeper. You are helping create divine ripples that never fade. You've waited through silence. Now let your voice join the song. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let the echo of heaven continue through you. Because when one chosen one speaks, others awaken. And the light that began in silence will not stop here, it will move through you, shining brighter with every act of faith.